Vanguard is next. Restore local refining, says NLC as FG halts subsidy removal.
Are we removing this subsidy or not? You'll be damned if you do, and you'll be damned if you don't. I think that what I think the federal government could have done it much earlier, but they were afraid of, because of the election. Okay, they didn't want to lose anything on the elections, and they didn't want it to become a problem during the elections. Now, a government that had already announced that it was going to remove the subsidy, was it by May or so, or by June, whatever time it is, has retracted again. So it's going to be back and forth. Now, the NLC says that they should restore local refining. This government has been in place for 8 years. It had 8 years to do that, and it hasn't done so. So what are we going to do now? It is true, yes, if you had local refining, the issue of subsidy would be minimal. But we can't we can't continue wasting money away for some people to take advantage of. For instance, couldn't Nigeria take its crude to some refinery abroad? But you see, the same excuse will be given. There will be fraud practices in between. Same excuse will be given. And it's a very good and robust one for elite. They love it. But look, most of the elite, the big boys that you see, all the big boys now, they are involved in all these rackets, the buildings coming down. They are one of Nigeria's biggest problems. They don't like you to say it, but it's the truth. And unfortunately, we just fall fall for it. That's why sometimes in public you get people staring at you kind of funny. We have really lived bank, but that's the truth. They have held this country by the jugular. They have held this country by the jugular. Do you know how much we fritter away in the name of so-called subsidy?
So people are asking, right? The $800 million from the World Bank, from the IMF that we already have, because what the news that came out yesterday was that it was suspended. So the initial committee has now been expanded to include a couple of other stakeholders. And then the NEC now says that, okay, look, so this committee now will get together, and the governors will be involved, the downstream regulatory sector will be involved, and other stakeholders. Then they will now sit and decide whether the June removal date is sacrosanct or it needs to be postponed.
Look, the June removal date, number one, is a banana peel for the incoming administration.
Yeah.
A president is going to be sworn in on May 29. Maybe 1st or 2nd of June, you remove the subsidy. You have killed him. That's killing on entry. It's like a situation of Magnum.
Okay.
You have killed him. You swear in the president on the 29th. Then in June, it's dead on arrival. I'm telling you. It's dead on arrival. And I hope that... And that is all this while I knew was a common sense thing to think about.
Yeah.
It's just common sense thing. Either you could have done it much earlier, or you leave it to the incoming administration to do it at a time that is convenient for them. All this drama about adding this to this committee and that to that committee is a whole lot of something I can't say on air. And I don't know about this World Bank. I still don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah.
But somehow it doesn't resonate in my head. It reminds me of the Buhari's government's what do they call it now?
Which one?
This one they were distributing 500. How much was it to 5,000?
Yeah,
trader money. Yes, a whole lot of nonsense, filled with fraudulent practice.
Money without traces.
Money without traces. You say you want to empower people for how long? It's okay, so you give it individual 50,000. How long is that going to? What are we talking about? There's nothing on ground. No alternative form of transport. Your refineries refuse to work. If all our refineries were working with Dangote coming on board, we shouldn't be talking of any subsidy. We shouldn't. Because then the kind of subsidy you would do is that, okay, Dangote, we are going to give you the crude at a reduced price.
Yes.
You don't need a bachelor's or PhD in economics. Port Harcourt refinery, you are getting 200-something thousand barrels a day, and we expect 200,000 barrels of PMS. And you do your checks.
And some other byproducts.
And some other byproducts. Yet, an oil-producing company country, we are suffering like hell. Now aviation fuel has gone up, air prices are going up again.
Oh yes, definitely.
What I mean, come on.
It'll go up.